Am I the asshole for leaving a dinner party after a girl sat on my husband's lap? I am still so shook with everything. So sorry for my rambling. My husband, Jake, 25, and I, 25, have been married for 3 years, and from the beginning, he was very close with his best friend's sister, Cindy, 18 female. Well, my husband would often talk about her and tell how he had seen her grow up throughout the years. Cindy is always very bubbly and seems very fond of Jake as well. I remember when we were dating and she would ask to come along on our dates a lot. I never said anything as I like spending time with her as well. She was like a little sister to me, and when we announced our engagement, she asked my husband to never forget about her after being a married man and to still hang out with her. Well, we got married, and I even made her my bridesmaid. Soon we moved to a different state and kind of lost contact. Now, Jake's best friend came to stay with us for some time, and Cindy came along as well. Now, the moment she saw us, the first thing she said was how hot my husband had gotten, and that she was glad that he didn't look like a boring married man. Then, throughout their stay, Cindy would just ignore my presence and would stay really close to Jake. I told Jake that it was looking a bit inappropriate and to ask Cindy to tone it down, but he said that Cindy is just a bit childish, and that's the way she is with everyone. Well, at their last day, we decided to host a dinner party for everybody. During the party, I was with Jake when Cindy came and told me, "Oh, I need to steal your husband for a while." And before I could say anything, she grabbed Jake's hand and took him for playing games. I ignored it since it was their last day, but then throughout dinner, she was getting really close with Jake and would just drag him away whenever I would be around while giggling at me. When everybody sat for dinner, I sat beside Jake and Cindy came last. She then said, "Oh, there's no seat," and then just went and sat on my husband's lap. Everybody was surprised, and Jake said, laughing, "Cindy, stop acting like a kid. You're not a kid anymore." Cindy started laughing, saying it was a joke, and got up and sat on another seat while giggling at me. Yeah, I was so angry with the disrespect and with the fact that Jake was so cool with it. But I didn't want to say anything bad, so I excused myself to my car and went out. About an hour later, Jake called me asking where I was. I told him I was going to be at my friend's house and I'll come after Cindy has left. I know what I did was terrible, but I was angry at the time that if I stayed there any longer, I would probably start fighting or crying. I came the next day and Cindy and her family had left. Jake was still very pissed and said that I took things too far. I started crying and told him how everything made me feel. He said that I was horrible to think such things about Cindy and that she was just like his sister. I told him that I was not doubting his intentions, but I was hurt by how disrespectful Cindy's, I just keep saying Cindy, hurt by how Cindy's behavior was and how he was enabling her by not saying anything. He started saying that I sound ridiculous and couldn't even take a joke, referring to the sitting on the lap incident. I said, regardless, I don't want her in my house again. To top it off, Cindy sent a message saying that she was sorry about making me feel so insecure about myself.
Oh, no.
And that she would make sure to make me feel better, but I should not have left as it was pretty childish and I kind of spoiled the mood. It felt so backhanded. I didn't respond or say anything to her. I just told my husband that he needs to maintain a distance from Cindy. Yeah. Cindy's nuts.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Feelings for Cindy. This really rubbed my husband the wrong way, and he said since I have such disgusting thoughts in my mind and is giving him an ultimatum anyways, then he might as well leave because he cannot live with such an insecure person who has such disgusting thoughts about him. He packed a bag and left to his mother's place. I have tried apologizing numerous times, telling him how sorry I am for everything, but he's ignoring my texts and calls. Later, Cindy's brother texted me, called me a bunch of names, to think like that about his sister, saying Jake should just leave me and that I'm a disgusted person and I deserve to be alone. I could not stop crying about that. I don't know how to fix this. Is there any way to even come back? Was I so in the wrong? I don't know anymore. And then there's a little update. Thank you all for responding and people who gave me good advice and personal messages. I couldn't read all the comments, but now I know my feelings are valid and boundaries were crossed by Cindy. Now during the dinner, there was Cindy, her brother Sean, and his girlfriend and their cousin Derek, also a good friend of my husband with his boyfriend. So I called Derek and asked about the situation and what happened after I left. He was very sympathetic and said that after I left, at first they thought I would come back after some time. However, things got really awkward, but when I didn't come back, Sean's girlfriend told Cindy that what she did was really disrespectful. Derek and his boyfriend said the same thing. To this, Cindy started crying, saying that they didn't have to corner her and attack her over a silly joke, that she didn't know that it would get out of hand. She just then left the room while crying. Jake didn't know what to say, and everybody left early the next day. Derek also said that Cindy had always had issues with boundaries, and when he introduced his boyfriend to everybody, Cindy would get too close and would joke that she was just checking to see if he was really gay. They were really uncomfortable with it as well, so Derek confronted her, to which Cindy rolled her eyes and said they can't take a joke, and eventually stopped. This all sounds so bizarre. I don't know what's going on with Cindy. Sean's girlfriend also texted me saying she was sorry for what happened. I told him how Sean's messages were inappropriate, but she had no idea about the text, so I sent her a screenshot and asked her to tell Sean to not harass me again. She was very apologetic and said she would talk to him. Now, my mother-in-law called and asked what was going on, as Jake didn't tell her and only said that we had an argument. I was a bit hesitant to tell, but eventually told everything. She was furious at my husband. She said that they'll be coming to have a talk. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to arrive, and I'm really nervous. I don't know if what I did was right or wrong, but we'll see. As for people saying my husband is some pedo or having an affair, I know this is the furthest from the truth. I never questioned his intentions, but what hurt me was the lack of respect from Cindy towards him. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my niece and not telling my sister beforehand? I, 24 female, have a sister, 35 female, who has a 16-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Her daughter has started rebelling and being a teenager. By being a teenager, I don't mean stealing. I mean being mouthy or thinking she's invincible, and she knows better than everyone. But recently, she's gotten sticky fingers. She's been banned from the mall in our neighborhood. She was suspended from school for taking a girl's phone, and she's even tried to pawn her mother's wedding ring. I don't like my niece at my house for this reason. I've worked too hard for my things for them to be stolen. 2 weeks ago, I noticed the patio door was unlocked, and I make sure I lock all my doors before I leave. My fiance suggested we get cameras, so we put cameras in the house. Last week, Wednesday, my fiance and I went to go look at wedding venues, and we were gone all day. When we got back, I only had to unlock the bottom lock to get into the house, so we checked the cameras, and sure enough, my niece and her friend somehow picked the lock to the window, and she was in our house for hours with 2 guys, and they took some money from my purse. They took 2 of my fiance's Rolex watches. They also took my grandmother's wedding ring that she left for me when she passed away last year from cancer. They were eating snacks and watching TV, shoes on our table and couch. Just like they lived there, and this is normal. Yep, shoes on the table and couch is crazy.
Lock them up.
I was fine with everything else until that.
Put them under the juvie. For real.
Under the juvie. I called my sister and told her what happened, and told her my niece has 2 days to give me everything back or I'd call the police, and she said she would handle it. Thursday comes around, nothing. Friday comes around, nothing. So I called the police and I showed them the video, filed a report. I got a call later from my sister crying and screaming that I should have told her beforehand. I told her I gave her 2 days to come up with the stolen items, and I heard nothing back, and I told her I was going to call the police. She's lucky I gave her grace for 2 days. My mom called me and said that you don't have kids, so you don't understand. I told her it doesn't matter if I have kids or not. She committed a crime and brought 2 random people in my house. My safety is in danger. I don't get the whole you should have warned me. Warned her for what? So she could hide her? I don't think I did anything wrong. My sister and her husband said they won't be coming to our wedding, and I told them the invitation was revoked when their daughter stole my things. I've been getting threats from her husband. I want to block them, but my fiance says keep all the evidence in case something happens. And then there is an edit. We do have a security system now. We've changed the locks. We're getting a safe for his watches and the more valuable stuff. We were planning on moving by the end of the year, and none of my family will know where I live. I don't feel safe knowing 2 random men know where I live. My fiance also says that we're getting a guard dog. We were already talking about getting a dog. No, this isn't just for guarding. We wanted one before, but we were waiting until we moved. Also, by beforehand, my sister meant like the day I called the police. Also, I have not gotten my things back as of yet. Hopefully.
Never getting that.
Yeah, there you go.
She said, I'm calling around to local pawn shops, checking Facebook, Craigslist, all of it. For the people calling me names over calling the police, you're not giving me any other solutions. I did not want to call the police, which is why I gave her 2 days. I don't think any of you know how unnerving it is to have your home broken into. You don't know how unsafe it feels to walk into your home, scanning if anything is gone, hearing a creak and wondering if they've come back. These two random men she brought know where I live. I should feel safe here, but I feel anything but that. If it had been someone else's home, she could have been seriously hurt or dead. Hopefully this was a wake-up call. If she needed money, she could have asked me, not broke into my home with two men who are still on the streets and who could come back at any moment and do Lord knows what. And then top comment, not the asshole. Your niece has some serious issues and she needs to understand actions have consequences. Question though, how did she get into your house? And then OP said the second time she snuck in through the kitchen window. Am I the asshole for refusing to donate my kidney to my dying sister because she got with my high school bully? Again, emphasis on dying sister. Maybe we reenact this one.
Maybe. That's such a... Probably.
Okay. Am I the asshole for refusing to donate my kidney to my dying sister because she got with my high school bully? I'm a 35-year-old gay man. When I was in high school, I was bullied severely by Darren. I won't go into details, but it was really bad, past the point of typical high school douchebaggery. In my senior year, I made the mistake of coming out to one of my friends who promptly spread this information around the school. Before this, Darren had targeted me for being unathletic and wearing glasses, and had done this to a couple of other kids as well, but after I was outed, it was only me, and only because of my sexuality. After high school, I moved away for college, I made friends and even got a boyfriend, and pretty much forgot about Darren, until one Thanksgiving my sister Ellie brought home her boyfriend, Darren. No joke. The first thing he said to me when he saw me was, "Damn, Ellie, you didn't tell me your brother was a F word."
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So this is years later?
Yep.
Oh
No growth.
gosh, none.
Ellie laughed, as did my dad.
Wait.
I was kind of stunned, but I didn't yell or start a fight. I just got up and walked out. After the fact, my family tried to play it off as Darren was joking because he was nervous meeting the family. And they told me that he and Ellie were serious, so I had to get over it. And I just told them all that I wouldn't be attending any event where Darren was. In private, I told Ellie that I felt hurt that she'd date Darren knowing what he did to me. She basically called me too sensitive and told me that she has the right to date who she likes, which, yeah, she does. Since then, I've been putting distance between myself and my family, who seem to have readily accepted Darren into the fold. Recently, my mom reached out to me that Ellie was in the hospital and needed a kidney transplant. The rest of the family had been tested and no one could donate, and my mom wanted me to get tested because I'm her full brother with a high likelihood of a match. The thing is, after all of these years, Ellie is basically a stranger to me. If I were to do this, I'd have to drive 3 states back to my hometown, miss who knows how much of work, and give up a piece of my flesh, all for the woman who dated and eventually married the guy who made my high school days a living hell. I told my mom that I wouldn't get tested, and she freaked out at me over the phone. I quickly hung up on her, but before I did, I heard her call me vindictive and a monster for refusing to save my sister's life. I admit I feel guilty about it. Am I the asshole? Today I f***ed up by accidentally lusting over a picture.
Accidentally?
Nothing from this is coming good.
Accidentally.
There's no accidental.
I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, mindlessly double tapping on photos as I went by, and I came across a picture of a stunning woman in a bikini, posing on a beach, great boobs, sexy ass. It was a good MILF. And then I'm really into. Without hesitation, I liked the photo and even showed it to my friend, commenting on how I'd tap that. A few minutes later, I received a notification that the woman had liked one of my photos.
Oh.
Curious, I clicked on her profile and started scrolling through her pictures. And that's when I realized, to my absolute horror, that the woman was my aunt. She's basically my mom's cousin, although we're not very close and we don't see much of each other. We still know of each other and know that we are related. I was so ashamed of myself. How could I have been so stupid? I quickly unliked the photo and hoped that she hadn't noticed. Later that day, Later that day, I received an IG notification. It was from her saying, "Hey, I saw that you liked my photo earlier. Thanks for the support." And she said, I cringed so bad. I responded with no problem.
Oh,
and prayed that she wouldn't bring it up to anyone else. And top comment says, bro, you better start liking random shit from her. You gotta mix it in. By the way, she knows. She knows.